What's going on, guys? Besides here, and into this video I'm going to show you the best settings that I use to win more games. Obviously that doesn't mean after you're watching this video about the best settings, that doesn't mean you're going to get from platinum to challenger or silver to diamond, but usually settings are very important and they can definitely give you an edge if you want to destroy your enemy and if you want to be better than your enemy. So if you want to find out what are those settings and what are the pro players also using, because what I'm going to give you in this video is with all of my experience that I gathered over the years watching Chinese, Koreans, Euro players, also like American players. So I'm going to show you what they use and what is my opinion in regards to those settings. So if you want to see what are those settings and you want to optimize your gameplay and you want to see what are the best ones for your gameplay, then stick till the end. So starting with the hotkeys right here. On the hotkeys, usually I just use quick cast. I don't really use normal cast at all. So for those ones that don't know, quick cast is like this one when you press Q and the Q just goes, and then the normal cast is when I can see the range and then I can just throw it. So this is basically the quick cast and normal cast. So normal cast is usually for like beginners. So if you let's say you have played the game for let's say a few months or maybe for less than a year, you can go for normal cast. Otherwise, I would recommend for everyone to even when starting playing the game to use quick cast, because quick cast is just faster, it's better, and obviously there are some exceptions when it comes to the game. Some pro players, for example, Dopa uses the Q on sometimes he used to use the Q on the normal cast, but as he changed it. Faker, he only uses quick cast, he never uses smart cast. For example, Frogan uses normal cast as well. Like there are lots of players that use normal cast, but in my opinion and with all of the experience that I gathered, most of them use quick cast. So I do recommend you guys to use quick cast. It's faster and it's much smoother. Right here, this is just default QWERDF 1 2 3 4 5. On 4 I do have the trinket. Some people keep it on T because it's just closer to the finger. This is just a preference. I don't think that it's really a huge difference if you put it on T. It's just your preference. I personally like to have this on T because maybe if I wanna, I personally don't use it too much, but if you wanna use it, you can actually put your Everfrost, for example, or your active. Maybe you have Gale Force, and you can just use it, to like proc this. And it's like pretty close to your finger instead of like pressing one, because if you press one you have to press it with the ring, right? At least that's how I do it. I keep my 3 fingers on QWE and I have to like move my ring on the 1 key. Then if you want to like be more efficient, you can just put with your index finger. You can actually just press it and then it's going to be a little bit faster. Again, this is just all personal preference. This can pretty much go like you guys can play with anything. There are some players that they play like in this, like 1 2 3 4, because they played I don't know, maybe WoW or other games. Personally, I think that you guys should have your own preference here, and I think that quick cast is almost always better. Right here, quick cast with indicator, I think that cast the press spell upon pressing another spell. This is pretty important. I would always keep it on. This one is again another preference. This means when you're pressing the Q, you can slightly for like a second, you can actually see your range and then your Q goes. I personally think that it's not that good. I don't personally like it. I think it's fine if you really like it and if you get used to it. So if you like it, you can play with it. I personally don't play with it, and I don't know any like really good pro player that plays with it. But I definitely think that it can be good, especially for new players to kind of see their range on the abilities. So it's definitely pretty good. So right here on the abilities, this is something that so many pro players use. I got this from Pearson. So yes, I'm using the quick cast. Okay, this is not quick cast. So I'm using the quick cast. Like when I press Q, my Q just goes like this. But if I want to see my range, I can also press Shift and then Q, and then right now I can actually see my range. Why is this important? Well, sometimes maybe you just want to push a wave or you want to hit multiple people and you don't exactly know your range. And instead of pressing Q like this, so it goes fast, you want to like see your range, and then you want to just press your like left button in order for you to like aim your Q like this, like on multiple people. So this can actually help you guys. I do recommend you to use this if you want to see your range, but at the same time you want to be fast to reaction. Again, you should keep this quick cast, and then if you want to see your range, you can just press, let's say I want to use my E, but I don't know the range. I just press Shift E, I see the range, I just charm, and yeah, that's basically how it goes. So I do recommend you guys to use this. Right here, this is default. This is default. Self-cast, obviously, like on self-cast, if you play Jana or if you play Oriana, or if it's important to know, maybe some of you don't know, but I'm pretty sure that most of you know that when you're pressing Alt and the key, like let's say I'm playing Oriana or Jana and I'm pressing Alt plus E, I'm going to actually shield myself. I'm going to cast the ability on myself. So this is pretty good. I wouldn't really keep it on anything else. I wouldn't put shift. I wouldn't put anything else. This is just the best default. Right here, this is default. Again, leveling up spell, this is default. Control Q, control double, this is like very default. Target champion solid, this is quite important for you guys. So if you want to dive someone, and let's say the guy is between, like behind of the tower, let's say I want to hit this guy, and I'm going to click on trying to like go on him, I'm just going to hit the tower. So there is a setting that you can actually have, target champions only, that you can press it, and when you press it, you can't actually click on the towers, you can't actually click on the minions. As you can see, I'm trying to do it, but I can't do it. So you can use this. Some people use it on Sigma, which is the key on the left angle of the 1 button on the keyboard, on the 1 number. Some people use T because it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty like close to the finger. You can use T here. Personally, I use the default settings, the Sigma, and yeah, this is basically just preference, but you should definitely have this on. And then right here, this is again like pretty default. On the items, again, if you want to see the range of the item, you can also like put like this. So my word is on the quick cast, so if I press it, like it goes instantly. But if I press shift and then 4, I can actually see the range. Why does this help? Well, sometimes if you want to see the range, and if you want to see like how much range your word has, it's like pretty useful to actually use it. Plus, in addition of that, many people know that if you can actually see the cursor. If you actually, as you guys can see, if I put it outside of the brush, you can see the green cursor, and if I don't put it, you can see like some like whatever blue this is. So when you're going to like try to ward the brush, let's say, and you want to make sure it's right on the edge, and this is something that challenger players do, it's pretty interesting. They actually word, and they try to word right at the edge, and in order for them to like make sure the word goes into the brush, they need this smart cast, because look at this. So right now I use the normal cast, so I can actually see the green cursor, so I can know if the word hits the brush. So again, if the cursor is green, that means it automatically goes into the brush. So look at this. So right now, this word is actually going to provide me this vision, right? And if my jungle, or if the enemy jungle goes like this, I will see him because of my word. Then think about it. If I put the word here, like normal into the brush, I actually don't see this guy. I actually don't see those guys. You see? So this is why these settings can be useful, because you can actually put it like right here, let's say, like right at the edge of the brush, so you can actually get more vision on this angle, so you can see the jungle coming. Obviously, this is very complex, but it's pretty interesting to know. So I use this for every item. Let's say I wanna have the range of my Everfrost. Like if I press 1, my Everfrost goes like this. Obviously, it's Squid Cast. But if I press Shift and then 1, then I actually can see the range. So if I can if I want to hit like multiple people, I can like do it if I want it. Okay, and then this is again just default, nothing too crazy. Player movement right here, I keep it default. What I do recommend you guys, I think this is like let's see. Okay, so yeah, this is default. Some of you guys can put instead of Shift and B, you guys can put X. So when you're going to press X, you're going to like just auto tag the closest target, which is pretty good for farming. You guys can also put A. Personally, I don't use it, and I don't feel the need of using it. Some people, when they are farming, they are pressing auto attack move cursor. They are using the A click, so they're pressing A, and then they're pressing left click. So in case they miss a click, as you can see, I'm missing the click, I'm not hitting the target, I still hit the closest target. But if I would just hit, like if I would just move my mouse, and if I would try to like only attack with my mouse, if I miss a click, I'm just going to like walk forward, which is so bad, right? So this is why some people, when they farm, they're farming with the A. They press A, they move, they take the farm, they press A, they move, they take the farm. It's basically A click and left click. This is what I use personally, but if you guys prefer like putting the A right here, so when you press A, literally the champion is going to like attack. This is also pretty fine. So it's again your preference. Personally, I play on default. Faker plays on default. Many players play on default. Dopa plays on default. Many players play on default. So I don't think you guys should change too much here. Camera control, this is pretty standard. Press spacebar when you're going to like look to select select your champion. When you're roaming, let's say you're moving your camera, then you want to just look at yourself so you can actually see like what's going on around your champion. This is quite important. Just this is default. Display, this is default. Communication, this is like pretty default. I keep my area is worded being on I. But again, like you guys can put it like on T, on V, on N, like it doesn't really matter. It's really up to you. Maybe you have a mouse button. I don't really use emotes, but if I use them, I just open them with M. And then menu, this is standard. So let's go to the videos. Right here, those videos can actually depend a lot on like your type of player. Usually there are so many pro players, Reckless, Nemesis, even Faker, I think they play on very low. The reason why they play on very low is because they always want to have the game as simple as possible, because you know, if you put very high, you're probably just going to have so many like little particles on the game. So for example, you're going to have let's say like that little frog like right here. If I put it on like very high, I'm going to see it, and it just defocuses my attention. So usually I play on medium because I like it. But if you really want to like win games and you know have the best settings that can actually allow you to improve and just focus on like the most important fundamentals in the game and not like on a frog like moving into the river, I would just play on very low. The resolution should always be the highest unless you have like the problems with ping. I would just play with the highest. This is like the best, so you can actually see the most with the champion. Full screen is usually better because it prevents you from alt tabbing. So I think that full screen is usually good. I love borderless. So if you're streaming or if you're doing like any kind of content, borderless is like really poggers as well. But personally, for improvement, I would just take full screen. And then right here, in terms of frame cap, I think that you guys should try to see like how many hertz does your monitor supports. So for example, if you have a 144 monitor, which I do have, you should put it on 144 FPS. If you have like a 60 Hertz monitor, then you can just put it on 60. If you have problems with your lag, then you should put it on uncapped. That's pretty much it. I don't really recommend you those two settings. I think they are like kind of useless, and from my experimentation, they don't really do much in League. And I haven't seen anyone playing with it from the pro players that I watched. And I also watched like Chinese players, Korean players, like no one really plays with it. This is like really preference. Color level, color gamma, brightness, it's really preference. Like you guys can play on like different types of monitors. So definitely try to adapt it, don't just copy it, because you know it's preference. Maybe I prefer the game to be really bright, maybe you prefer the game to be really like the other way around, really dark. So again, yes, just try to see what works for you. Just go into a practice tool, just try to like kind of play with those settings, press OK, see how you see the river, try to like navigate through the map and see which one do you like it the most. Again, in this case, there is no best settings on the video. It's just I think those ones are like the best, and then those ones is just preference. In terms of the sound, this is very interesting that people, I actually saw a lot of people, they don't have music volume because they don't care about like music volume in the game. They actually don't have announcer volume, so they don't like hearing, hey, welcome to Summoner's Rift or whatever, or Pentakill or whatever, and they don't actually have ambience volume. The reason why they only have ping, sound effects, and master volume is just because they want to like be really focused on the game. For example, Magifelix, and maybe you guys know Magifelix, he's like really good in SoloQ, and he plays with those settings, so he doesn't actually hear when his teammates are dying, right? Because this is basically what you're going to do by like disabling some of those settings. You're not going to hear like that your bot lane got first blood. You're not going to hear that your top lane just died 1v1. So it's actually quite good. I usually again play like this. This is like 20. I don't play with music volume. I don't play with this one. I play with voice because I personally like hearing the voices. Sound effects is really good because maybe Rexa is going to ult you and you're going to hear it, and so you can actually react to it faster. Or maybe you're going to hear the charm of the enemy and then you can actually just dodge it by reaction, or you can hear the Malphite ulti, Cyan ulti, Kled ulti. Like if you just have sound effects, it's like quite good. Obviously pings are super important. I wouldn't really play with ambience. Again, this is not going to be a huge difference, but I think that it can actually give you a little edge if you want to win more games. HUD scale, I mean, this is like very controversial. Usually I always recommend people to have it on 0, because I mean, why would you have like your HUD half of your screen, right? It's just stupid, because you're just going to like, if the enemy jungle ganks you from this angle and I have my camera like this, let's say I have my camera like this. I don't see him coming. Look at this. I don't actually see him. He's not on my screen. I have to move my camera. But if I just lower my HUD, I would have actually seen him, you see? So I wouldn't really, unless you're like very beginning, let's say you have like a few mounts playing the game, I think that this is fine if you put it on 100 or something, but usually I would put it between 40 and 0. I personally play with 0 because I just know almost every ability of the game, how much like cooldown it has and how much like mana it costs. So it's pretty easy to tell. Then cursor scale, I would recommend you to like not put it like too small and like not put it too big. I would just put it in the middle so you can be as accurate in the game as possible. Shop scale, like this doesn't really matter all that much. You can put it like this so you can actually be a little bit more efficient when you're like buying, because you're going base and the items just pop in your face instead of, you know, having the shop scale like this, you know, and then you have to like look for the item and then just try to search for it. So I'll definitely put it on like 100 or like 80. Chat scale doesn't really matter. I don't really type anything. I'll put it on 30 so I can actually see what's going on, but it shouldn't really be too big so it doesn't really keeps your attention away from the game. Minimap scale, usually I would put it on 100, but what I actually experimented when I put it on 100, I actually tried to like charm or do something on the, like, let's say on the lane, and then I just by mistake click on the map. So that's not good, not good at all. If you just click on the map and you try to do something and your champion just pats there, but you just wanted to like go bot lane maybe. So I think that 80, 70, like this is the best. But again, you obviously have to adapt it and you have to see like what works for you the best. Dead recap scale doesn't really matter. I would put it on 100. Practice tour scale doesn't really matter all that much as well. I think it's wherever. And then right here, this is basically screen flash on damage. I would put it on. Doesn't matter that much. This is like preference champion highlight. When you're pressing like space, you can actually see this like little, I don't know how to say it, like just little sign that, you know, hey, you're playing Ari, bro. You have to know it. Like this is pretty cool. I keep it on. Legacy cursor, I actually think that this one is actually smoother, a bit smoother, but obviously it really depends on your preference. I personally play with legacy cursor, but if you like this one because it's smooth, I mean, I kind of like feel you, because it really feels smooth. Other than that, what we have right here, those ones don't really matter. This one is really good. Like when you're pressing A, you're going to like see your like range. Basically, if you don't press, like right now, if I have this disabled, I'm not going to, when I'm pressing A, I'm not going to really have like and see my cursor basically. So it's a preference, but I would just put it on. This one, disable hard spell click, this doesn't really matter that much. This one matters because when I'm trying to charm, I want to see the hitbox as well. Like you see right now, I don't see the hitbox when I'm pressing Shift AE, right? The normal case. So if we put this, you're going to have a line, like it's going to like show you that, hey, this is the charm, this is how fat the hitbox is, so you can like hit it like this or like this or like this, whatever. This is quite good. This minutes and seconds, it's pretty good. You have to have this. Like, don't disable this, please. Don't disable this. I coached someone, he played jungle without this, and he had no idea what camps are up and what camps are not up. So fuck it, don't do this. You have to always have this enabled. Then show minimap on left, it's your preference. Allow minimap movement is really important when you're like trying to path somewhere. Other than that, right here, again, obviously I would show summoners names on the scoreboard. I don't play with all chat. I don't really care about what people like really say on the wall chat. I very rarely play with chat on. Usually I like to play with chat on because I can just tell them group or something like this, but normally I just play with mute all, so it doesn't really matter all that much. I don't see what people type, but I only see, like, I only type to them so they know what they should be doing. Personally, I think that for maximum improvement, you should just disable both of them, because there is almost never a situation where by typing someone is going to influence your team positively. People are not going to listen to you, or if they do, they are very rarely going to do, and it's really not worth it to just keep your attention on the chat when you can actually just disable the chat, enjoy the Goligando, and just enjoy the game, yeah, instead of like trying to type to people what they should be doing. I personally tilt when I see emotes, like enemy emoting me, so I just mute them. But again, this is just personal preference, really. Maybe it's just me. I know that some of you actually like this. Yeah, it's cool for the game. So, but again, personally, I don't like it. Right here, this doesn't really matter all that much. And onto the game, this is really preference. You can just play with whatever you want. I would just put it on 50 usually if you're not sure what you have to take. But again, like if you want to change those settings, I wouldn't change it here. I would change the mouse settings on DPI. If you change it from the game, you might have some mouse acceleration. I don't recommend it. And I think that what you can do is this one, like camera, like by keyboard, if you're like looking to like move your camera with your keyboard. Camera move speed, this is important. Like make sure it's not too slow. You see, this is too slow. Like if I'm like looking, and make sure it's not too fast, because right now like this, this is really fast, right? So usually 50 is like kind of the perfect. Obviously it depends on your DPI as well, but I feel like 50 is like the one of like the best. 50, maybe 45, something like this. Like again, not too fast, but not too slow for sure. Okay, then right here, I would always, well, I don't actually recommend you to play with fixed offset. I do recommend you to play with per side. The difference is that when you're pressing spacebar and you keep the camera on yourself, you can see the same amount behind you, the same amount of content, the same amount of information, the same amount of map uh, width, that you can see the same amount of map on both sides. So if you put per side, what's going to end up happening is that your camera is going to be, as you can see, it's going to be a little bit more towards the sides that you're playing on. For example, it's like this is fixed. Like fixed is your champion is the middle. Per side is like your champion is a little bit, you know, onto the left. It's basically your camera is going to hover towards the side that you want to destroy the nexus, basically. So this is always good for all of the players. I personally like fixed, but again, I don't recommend you to play with it. Semi-locked is like really good for the players that are like really good at using it. I think that it's much better with the locked camera. So if you play with locked camera, you should instantly try this out. If you can like not adapt with playing with unlocked camera. And other than that, I don't actually recommend you to play with auto attack. I have no idea why I have it on. I think it's bad. When you're going to get CC'd, your champion is going to start attacking them, which is obviously bad. So I wouldn't really put it. I would just put it off. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This is like pretty important, and this is pretty important as well. Attack move on cursor. So what this means is that when you're pressing the A button, it's going to hit the closest target, even if you're going to miss a click. If you don't actually, so let's say I'm here and I'm missing the click and I'm pressing the A button right here, it's going to like actually, as you can see, it's going to attack the closest target relative to where I clicked. If I don't have this, what my champion is going to do is that when I'm going to click there, my champion is going to hit the closest target relative to the champion, not relative to the click. So this is actually quite important, because if you're like trying to play AD carry, let's say, and you're trying to hit the guy that is in the back, you just miss the click and you want to go on the target that you want to go. You don't want to go on the closest target like this. So this would be like bad. And then this one is quite important. So exactly what I said about the toggle, like with the T. I do recommend you guys to like treat the target champion solely as a toggle, because when you're going to press T and then you're going to dive, it's going to be quite easy to like not miss the click. If you're comfortable with holding the key, that's fine, you can do it. But again, I personally hold it because this is how I got used to it. But objectively right now, I think that it's much better if you get used to, like, it's easier to get used to, like, if you treat target champions only as a toggle. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions, or if you want to see more of those kind of videos, please let me know. Don't forget about the coaching. If you want to get better in League of Legends, remember that I also do coaching. I already coach thousands of players, getting them from bronze to really diamond. If you want to improve, or maybe let's say you want to get a little bit of rank, you want to find your mistakes, you can book your coaching session. You have the links in the description. If you want more information and you want to approfundate this information, you want more content, I also upload every single coaching session, tier list, guides, mid lane AD carry, top lane support on my Patreon. It's really good content there as well. So if you can't afford the coaching, the full personalized coaching, Patreon is $5 basically per month, and you can cancel it anytime. So it's a huge amount of information that is like really good if you're looking to improve but you can't afford coaching. Obviously, if you can afford coaching, it's by far the best. To get better if you're serious about getting better in this game. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.